Alright, what's going on, y'all? It's Cooper here, one half of FCSN. Is that time of the week to break down the college football playoff, where I give you guys the prediction for my top 4 teams along with the 4 teams that I have on the bubble. Before we jump into it though, go ahead and leave your top 4 in that comment section below. And with that said, let's go ahead and again jump straight into this thing. At the number 4 overall spot, and they probably won't be here, but I have the Baylor Bears. I think they're deserving of that 4 spot. They were 7 going into this week. The playoff committee will announce their top 25 tonight. I expect Baylor to be like 5 or 6. I think they deserve the 4 spot. They beat TCU head-to-head. If they're able to beat Kansas State this weekend, that adds another, might be a top 10 victory, depending on where Kansas State moves up to their resume. And that would make them the champion of the Big 12. So I think that conference championship needs to hold some weight. I think they need to take into consideration. This is next week, by the way. This isn't for this week. I think Baylor eventually, if they win this game this weekend, deserves to be in the college football playoffs. So they be that 4 spot. They be the conference champion. Have the head-to-head over TCU. Maybe they haven't been as impressive in some games, but you know what? You win games. I don't care about game control. The game control thing is stupid to me. You win ball games. You win head-to-head matchups. You get the W in the column. You deserve to be there. So number 4 overall spot, I've got the Baylor Bears. Moving on to number 3, Oregon is playing like one of the best teams in the country right now. A lot of people have them at number 1 or number 2. I have them at 3. I'll get into that later. But Oregon, like I said, playing outstanding football right now. Absolutely dominating their opponent. That one loss to Arizona hurt them. They're going to have a chance to see them again this weekend. That's going to be a big matchup. It's tough for anybody to beat a team twice. I think Oregon will most likely win that game, and then they'll lock up either the 2 or the 3 spot, in my opinion. At number 2 spot, I have these guys like ahead of Oregon because Florida State hadn't lost. I know they don't have the game control. I know they haven't looked as impressive. I know they haven't been the dominant. I know people snack the schedule. I think it's not that bad. And by the way, the ACC was 4-0 versus SEC. I know it's SEC East, but you can't knock the ACC. It's not that bad like people say. It's not great, nothing to brag about, but they've got some solid teams, some respectable teams that you can't hate on all the time. But Florida State undefeated. I know they're not as impressive. Maybe not even playing near that level of Alabama and Oregon right now. But they deserve to be in the number 2 over spot because they haven't lost and they put themselves in a position to be here. We got a tough one coming up against Georgia Tech. That is going to be a tricky game. Both teams come off big rivalry weekends and wins over SEC East opponents. And Georgia Tech, like I said, the triple option is tough to prepare for. We'll see how Florida State handles it. But right now, Florida State playing some pretty good football. The defense has picked it up in previous weeks. I have it at the number 2 overall spot. At number 1, Alabama coming off a big-time Iron Bowl victory. That was so impressive. They were down for the majority of that game, even midway through the 3rd quarter, and then they just caught fire. Amari Cooper reestablished himself as a legitimate Heisman Trophy contender. This team is playing the best football at the right time, and like right now, I would not want to play Alabama. I don't think Missouri has much of a chance, but we'll see. That could be an interesting ball game in Atlanta, but Alabama will most likely lock up the number 1 spot this weekend going into the college football playoffs. So that's my top 4. Like I said, leave your top 4 in the comment section below. And with that said, let's go ahead and look at the 4 teams I have on the bubble. Alright, so here's a look at the 4 teams that I have on the bubble that are just outside the college football playoff, and depending on what happens in front of them or how they play in the upcoming weekend, could play themselves into a college football playoff spot. With that said, let's go ahead and get into these. At the 8th overall spot, I got Missouri. This is a long shot. They have 2 bad losses. They lost 34-0 to Georgia, and they lost to Indiana of the Big Ten, which is just an average team. They should not have lost that game. Wait, I'm not saying Indiana shouldn't have beat them. I'm saying it doesn't look good on their schedule. They should not have lost that if they want to get into the playoff. Missouri, they haven't looked the best at sometimes. They've struggled, but they've earned the right to play in the SEC Championship, representing the SEC East. They got Alabama up at hand, and that's going to be all they can take. It's going to be a tough game. But if Missouri is somehow, some way able to upset the Alabama Crimson Tide, 2-loss SEC champion, I think maybe they get that 4 spot if that's able to happen. You never know. I have Missouri as a sleeper for college football playoff spot. Moving on to the next, we got Arizona. Same kind of situation. They actually beat Oregon in the beginning of the year. Or actually it was midway, but they beat Oregon midway through the year, and that's their signature win right now. And they got to beat. It's hard to beat anybody twice, but they're looking to do it again. And if they do that, like I said, similar situation, Pac-12, 2-loss conference champion of a good conference. It's hard to deny them a playoff spot, maybe that 4 spot. If Arizona and Missouri both win, I think Arizona would have the edge if they were both able to win their conference championships. Move on to the next spot, Ohio State. You gotta feel bad for JT Barrett. He came in replacing injured Braxton Miller and almost like won the starting job for next year. He's played so well, thrown himself in Heisman contention, and it just comes down to like he gets injured right in like a second half, right before the Big Ten championship, right before that playoff. Maybe they'll stay able to win that game. If they win that game with their third string quarterback, I think maybe they deserve that 4th spot. We'll never know. It depends on how they win, and depends on how TCU does play. It depends on how TCU and Baylor both play on this up and coming weekend. But Ohio State right now, I think they're outside looking in with a chance to play themselves in this weekend. TCU, very impressive team. That one loss to Baylor was a rough one. They were up 21 points in the 4th quarter with a chance to win that game, and then they just blew it. Besides that one game, they've been nothing short of impressive outside of that Kansas game, and they even won that one, so that doesn't matter. I'm not a big fan of game control. I think TCU still wins ball games. I don't care how they win them. TCU, very impressive team if Baylor doesn't win this weekend. And maybe there's a shot that they'll be in the playoff. Like, the committee seems to love TCU and their game control. And they're probably going to be the number 4 team tonight, in my opinion. I think that's who's going to get it. But that's not who I am predicting, or who, if I was a committee member, I would put in. But TCU, very good ball club. Number 5 in the overall poll in my spot. Let me just think in the comment section below my 4 teams on the bubble. Follow me on Twitter at CooperFCSN. If you want to talk to me or anything like that. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more content like this. I hope you guys have a good day. This is Cooper, signing out.